Uh, Welcome to the podcast, Superintendent Gold. Uh, this your career has been super expansive. 20 years, 10 years as a superintendent in one particular school district, which is amazing. Also, not quite common and a little unheard of because a system board kind of getting you selected over and over again is
Mhm.
shows great leadership, shows skill, shows vision, and shows innovativeness because everything's changed, right? Like you've seen the pandemic, you've seen internet come in, you've seen AI come in. Everything's been so massively changed, and this is how it is. But
Yeah.
we would love for our listeners to understand how your journey began. How did you end up at the Big Hollow School District, and how has the role been, and how you've seen it all change?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off my career in actually teaching high school in my hometown in Central Illinois, teaching high school math, and I spent 20 years in that school district as a teacher, as a administrator, and ended up as a superintendent in that district. And it was a great experience for me in that district. But both my wife and I felt like it was time for a change, time for a move, and I ended up taking a job. It was kind of a big move for us, but took a job across the country in Arizona at the Arizona Department of Education as an associate superintendent in the Department of Education, working under the direction of the state superintendent. And just spent a year in that job because there was a changeover in the state superintendency at that time, and just spent a year in that job. It was a great opportunity for me that year to really, um, I guess, expand my knowledge of what was going on in schools across Arizona and seeing the similarities of the struggles that Arizona was facing as what we were seeing in Illinois. Um, so this is a great experience for me that year. And then I bounced back to Illinois right after that and ended up at Big Hollow School District in Ingleside, Illinois, which is up in the northwest Chicago suburbs. And as you mentioned, I've been there for 10 years. So it's been a great experience. It's kindergarten through eighth grade district, not a large district. We have less than 1,800 students. And it's just been a really good opportunity for me to um, uh, dive into a community, a school community that at the time, 10 years ago, was struggling financially. Morale was a little low in the staff, morale in the community was low. And so there were a lot of really good opportunities there to come in and make a difference, I think, at Big Hollow. And it's been a real joy for me the last 10 years.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love the fact that we've both been maths teachers for high school.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So what a common ground to begin with. But
Exactly.
love the segue towards teacher retention and recruitment that you just spoke about. And it's a nationwide challenge right now, right? Like we've
Yeah.
seen the mass resignation which took place. We saw how different strategies can impact that. So we would love to hear about you, what you have done, how's the environment changed, how do you hold the talented teachers and then look at retaining the right crop and still shedding few. I'm pretty sure like you would want to churn few and like hold the best we have. So how does that look like and how do you still keep the morale high and like actually take it from a district which was struggling to a district which is thriving right now?
Yeah. I think so we face a unique challenge where we're located in that we are a far northwest suburb. As you get closer to the city, to the Chicago city, you'll see salaries for s- for educators increase.
Yeah.
And so we're in a constant battle to try to keep to draw people to our district in a very competitive salary environment. And so I have felt like we have to build a really strong culture that people want to come to our district. And I think one of the challenges is for new teachers is in Illinois, it's become less of a draw to get into education because the pension system for new teachers is not as good. So we've tried to like bring in some incentives to help our new teachers come in. So we started a couple years ago, we started a student loan repayment program. So So when new teachers come to us and they're paying their student loans, we pay a significant portion, if not all of that back every year, as long as they are committed to returning to Big Hollow. Um, so we have a program. It pays them up to $15,000 over a 5-year period, and their commitment to us is that they're going to stay. So that's something we try to do. We've tried to strengthen our mentoring program for new staff. And I feel like we have to provide them as much support as we can as they're coming in, and just know that they're going to make mistakes, and we want to help them grow, um, and make it be a very comfortable environment for them. We have I have the opportunity it's unique a little bit because we're not a large district,
Yeah.
so I'm speaking to you as a superintendent, but this wouldn't be something that all superintendents would be able to do. But I have the unique opportunity to really um, invest time in our new staff. So I'll meet with all new teachers one-on-one in their first 90 days. Like I'll just sit down and meet with them, make sure that their transition's going well. Just give them a time to bounce back to me, like what are things we can do to better support you right now, and just to like, kind of reaffirm with them that hey, we're here to help you. We want to guide you through this first year. It's not an easy one usually.
Yeah.
And so I think taking time to build those relationships with those teachers and know that the administrators aren't just sitting in an office somewhere guiding what's going on. We want to get down in the weeds with you and kind of be there to support you. So we try to do those things. Uh, and then we have for all of our staff, and a lot of districts do this. I mean, we have a few different survey opportunities where they can just give us direct feedback. Um, and throughout the year. Uh, but one of the things I think that has been important to us is that we take, with one of the surveys in particular, we take time to really set actionable goals, action steps to try to address the issues that maybe are coming up, and we use those goals are developed by building leadership teams, which include teachers. So they help develop the goals that come from those surveys. So it's just all in a matter of trying to build some good culture and let people know that we're trying to be there to support them, and we want their voice in their voice in the action steps that we need to take. So.
I love the fact that you mentioned three things, right? Like you mentioned student loan payback. I think that's one of the most innovative ways that I have heard to,
Mm,
work
yeah,
around compensation. I think listeners would be really happy to take that back and think about it because student debt is piling on. We've all heard of it. And this just gives them the right incentive to come back because even if the
yeah,
money is a little low, if your student debt is going away, I think it's a big enough incentive to come back. So kudos to you.
yeah.
But
Thank
how
you.
do you maintain the culture, right? Like, because you mentioned culture as a word like quite a few times, uh, and you've seen that through the pandemic, and and because you're K to 8, so it's even tougher because the kids were ho at home and like it went through all the, off school, on school, and like starting things back and everything else. How's the culture maintained across it? Is there something specific that you look at? Do you add to it? Just a broad question on how do you maintain a culture and how do you lead from the front on that particular aspect?
So first of all, how we assess it is, through a survey instrument, and we've been able to determine, that a significant. I think last year we were in the high 70% of our staff are highly engaged and highly motivated with the work they're doing. So we feel good about that, and that's a good spot. Um, you know, as far as maintaining that, I think it's just in the day-to-day uh, transparency and communication and being visible on campus, all of our administrators being visible and just having open communication. I think we have a very strong relationship with our union leadership.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty important piece of it. It's not a contentious relationship. We support each other. We know that we both have important work to do and to try to keep the culture of our district strong. Um, and so I think that honestly, just the building of those relationships and trust amongst your staff is where the culture starts. And maintaining that is just not giving them the reason to doubt the work you're doing and your vision for the district.
So beyond compensation, right? Like when you look at new recruitments that's coming in, is there
Yeah.
anything else which you have utilized or implemented which has worked really well for you? More strategies or is hiring not a big problem? I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's a challenge for us. We especially we've I mean we attend job fairs at colleges and just try to recruit. And I think we've tried to put our brand out a little bit on the like in social media and just to get people to see things that we're doing well in our district. And it ends up honestly at that point. Um, it really becomes by word of mouth. You know, we've had people that have come to our district because they've applied because they've heard, you know, that they've got a friend here that works here and they've heard really good things about the culture here and that teachers are supported. And um, so, you know, that we do live in an area that I think is attractive to teachers, but we do have to work hard at kind of selling the brand of our district. And we really try, our brand really is that you know, we value our kids and our education. Our community thinks it's important, and it's a place where we're going to let people come and help them grow as educators. But selling that brand to people is challenging, and what I've heard from when I talk to new hires, I'll say to them, "What brought you to Big Hollow? Like what drew you to Big Hollow?" And a lot of times I hear from them is that when they came in for the interview, they met our team and that sold them. So they could tell that it was a good place to work. And that's a lot of times that's what I hear. And so they because a lot of in this environment, the teachers, the candidates have a lot of choices. They can go it's a tough environment to hire teachers because they have a lot of choices, and so we have to be inviting to them and intriguing to them. And so I what I hear from our new hires is that when they get in the door and they meet our staff and they get to that interview, they're sold. So that's good.
One of the things which I had heard before was I was speaking to a superintendent, and it was actually in Arizona, where he said that they have a referral bonus, right? Like they would just give a bit of a referral for someone else to refer a good teacher to the school system. And that was extremely unique as your student loan repayment is. Like
Hmm.
I didn't have heard of something like that being done across. So yeah, I think having a unique idea and a great culture that uh, they hear about from other people
Yeah,
definitely kind of hits the recruitment side of things.
for sure.
Shifting to effective administration, which is
Yeah,
super broad but extremely critical.
yeah.
If you had to pinpoint one of the foundational principle that underpins a successful district leadership, what would that be? And how do you see it
Okay.
play out in practice?
Okay. I guess I would first of all start with the tying this into our last topic in that if we have effective administrative strategies implemented, then I think the teacher recruitment and retention kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah.
If we are doing things well, um, then eventually that's going to carry over and it's going to be a place where people want to work. If we're not doing things well, we're going to have high turnover and people want to get out. So I think this is a really important topic, and I have I have to start again with, and I'm gonna speak from a like district leadership perspective, but you know I've had to focus like I told you I came into a situation where the morale was a little low in the community and the staff, and it took me probably 2 years to build trust and to to get people to uh, know me a little bit and know what I wanted for our district. And that was in just investing a lot of time in people, whether it was my board, our staff. We provide opportunities for our community to get engaged. And I started a citizens advisory council where parents come and we are really transparent with them. We just pour out all the information. This is what we're doing. And whether it's finances, curriculum, student discipline, whatever the topics are, we spill it out to them and tell them, like we share data with them and we talk about this is what we're doing. We get them really deep in the weeds and then we get their input. Um, and I think the parents appreciate that. And the ones who go through that process with us, they learn a lot about our district. So we've done that council for many years now. But the past few years, I started this thing that it's been a lot of fun for me, but I call it coffee and chats with Mr. Gold. And a few times a year on Saturday mornings, I'll meet at Starbucks with a group of any parents that want to come, and we have these topics out there. And I let them just fire questions at me, and we just talk and open things up. And that's been a good group of people. It's anybody who wants to, but it's just it's I guess it's a challenge for me just to get to be transparent with people, to build relationships, to know that I'm just, I'm trying to do what's best for our district, and I want to get their input. Um, uh, I think just being visible as a district leader, even or as a building leader, being visible in the community and with your staff, uh, and just that leading with transparency is really important to people because I think the the fallback is that people don't want to trust the leaders.
Yeah.
Uh, they're pretty skeptical of what, they don't want to trust the leader. And that's kind of the initial. So until you break that barrier down, you're gonna be spinning your wheels. And so I know you've mentioned that I've been at Big Hollow 10 years. And I will tell you the first two or three were hard because I didn't have the credibility. And then at this point now, it's been really, really good because uh, I think I've broken that barrier down and we've been able to get some really good work done.
Let me just, I mean, because the fact that you mentioned community and the morale of parents and like in general, other than the teachers, because we have covered that piece,
Yeah.
how do you look at from a perspective of, was it like a step-by-step process of building that trust in place? Because coffee with Mr. Gold sounds brilliant. I love that. I think it's a very honest and open space for someone to come in. I
Yeah.
wish more people would do that so that they can have a ready to have conversation and just broad understanding. But like, other than this, what else can you do for community, right? Like, how do you build that trust? How do you gain parents who are kind of miffed with the schools, kind of miffed with the
Yeah.
district administration and like what decisions they have taken? What other things have you done where this piece has sorted itself?
Yeah. I think being willing to have the difficult conversation head on. When I know there's opposition to something we're trying to do, a lot of times it happens in social media.
Yeah.
And instead of them coming directly to us. And so I've had times where I just reach out to the person or the group individually and just say, hey, let's get together and meet. Let's talk. And once that happens, and they see that we're two human beings just trying to make decisions, and that to me has been effective. Just being really just hitting those issues head on with somebody and being willing to have that direct conversation. Um, has been really important. I think once people know that I'm willing to do that, like I'm very accessible to our community. My cell phone's out there, and people email me all the time. And I'll set up meetings one-on-one with people on campus, off campus, whatever it is, if they've got issues they want to talk about. And I think not shying away from that is pretty important, especially early on. And that's at the building level, that's at the district level. It's just really being willing to address those issues head on as you see them, especially early on, because people are really questioning your leadership until they get to know who you are and what direction you want to go.
Sounds Yeah, sounds quite legit, right? Like that's exactly how most people would want to do that. But and coming from this segue into the other thing is when you look at leadership in itself, how do you empower people below you, right? Like how do you empower principals? How do you empower business, the other administrative? Which
Yeah.
do you want to take? Would you want to micromanage? Would you want to let them work towards the vision? How do you like it's a
Yeah.
loaded question. because it's gonna.
No, it's a good one, and I'll tell you, I've had to grow on that one because I've had trouble. Yeah, I would say early in my career, had a little trouble letting other people do their work. I wanted my fingers in everything, and I wanted to fix my own mistakes rather than somebody else's, and that was a problem for me. And um, so I've say that what I've learned is that I have to trust my team, and I set up regular one-on-one meetings with everybody that reports to me. I'd say I meet with every one of them every 2 weeks for an hour at least. And we just, we really talk, we keep track of our conversation topics. We keep track of our goals. And I walk with them through their work. And it's an opportunity for me to kind of let go of some of it. And um, that has helped me. But I think the important thing is just being willing to let people um, do their work, give them space to make mistakes, know that they're going to make mistakes, and you're going to help them walk through that together, and not they have to be. I don't want them to be afraid to make mistakes. I don't want them to be afraid to take risks. And so again, so to me that I've had to learn a lot in that area because it's one of the reasons why I left my original district that I was there 20 years was because I had trouble um, myself. Everything was going great with the community and the school district and my relationships. All that was great, but I was personally owning everything and not giving some of that away. And so every little problem in the district, I owned it myself, and it was hard. It was kind of wearing me out. And so that year in Arizona that I spent working down here in Phoenix was a good opportunity for me to reflect a little bit and talk. I talked to some district leaders who worked at very large districts and talked to them about how they do that and how they navigate that. And I learned a lot there, and then that I've transferred to my time at Big Hollow, which I think I've become a better leader during this time.
You mentioned something which was super intriguing, right? Like as soon as you move from a and and I could relate because when you move from a teacher to a CEO or like a
Mhm.
superintendent position, right? Like
Yeah,
you're quite hands-on and then you're not. Like you
yeah,
have to be hands-on and then you suddenly are like on a bird eye view and like have to look at the bigger picture and like paint the right things. So
yep,
maybe it's a question that comes from my own personal sense is how do you like what guardrails do you keep? How do you put it in practice? What
yeah,
checks do you bring in? And how does that look like?
yeah. No, that's a good question because and again, the leadership principles I'm talking from are from a superintendent of a district of 1,800 kids or less, right?
Yeah.
So it's different if I had 30,000. But um, I'm, some of the things I'm very visible on campus. I'm around all the buildings every day. I know the kids know me. I know the teachers know me. And so all of that. But the problem is there are some guardrails there that I need to put up in that I don't want my principals to feel like that I'm overstepping them because really that building is their building and I don't want to overstep them. So they have a lot of trust in me and I have a lot, I try to communicate directly with them um, what I'm doing, the reasons I'm doing things, and I don't want to overstep the work they're doing. And they do trust me. So we have those conversations though, because that's a guardrail that concerns me. I don't want the principal to ever think that I'm trying to overstep them. I want to give them space to lead in their buildings. And but at the same time, I want to have like I get into every classroom during the school year. I have my, I have probably 150 certified teachers throughout the district, and I want to see them do their work, not because I want to evaluate them, but I want to keep my teacher hat. I want to know what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and I want to know if we need to be doing things differently to help support them. So that's I get in all their classrooms every year, and I make it important or a key to the principals to know that I'm not there to judge them as a principal and their leadership. I'm there to just kind of keep tabs on the culture of our district and where we're at, and if there's initiatives we need to be looking at that we're not. So my principals do have a lot of trust in that process, but it is an important guardrail. And it takes a lot of trust between you and the other leaders that you're not trying to undermine them.
one of the conversation piece, specifically in the whole administrative side of things, is
Hmm.
communication and resource management, which are extremely constraints, right? Like, because you have to work through both. And how do you look at, and this is a loaded question again, it's
Yeah.
the SR funds have ended. Right now, money is tight with almost every district that we speak with. How do you see it play it out in your district? Are you adding anything new? This is also for vendors who would want to reach out to you or like anyone else wanting to reach out. Are you adding anything new in terms of tools, curriculum, any broad ideas? Or is there a, and I'm also going to ask you, is there the big, what's your biggest challenge which you're facing right now? So that if
Yeah.
someone wants to reach out, who should that person be?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. And we're at an interesting time right now. I mean, we have 10 years ago, we were in a really bad place financially. Um, we climbed out of that. We're doing we've done well enough that we've lowered our class sizes by adding staff. We've added instructional coaching, we've added interventionists, we've added a lot of resources for our kids and our staff. Um, and that and part of that is due to we have had good state school funding in the last. We've benefited from some changes in Illinois in the last 10 years. Um, we also t ta tried to tackle one of the things I was trying to do when I first got to Big Hollow was trying to tackle any area of savings that we could grab that didn't negatively impact the classroom. Um, so, um, for instance, we made a lot of energy efficiency changes. We have a solar field. We just did a full energy efficiency project, 8 years ago, and so we're saving significant money on the energy side, which then impacts positively on the classroom side, right?
Yeah.
Um, but we are at a crossroads right now because we have really got to a point where we have very good class size, student to teacher ratios. We have very good support for we have instructional coaching and practices in place that are really good supportive for our staff, and we have interventionists in place for math and reading in all the buildings. And so we could do more. We'd love to do more, but we are at a point right now where funding is really getting tight. And it's the first time actually I could say I'm saying that in the last 10 years. We've always been able to finish each year in the positive direction. And this year, I don't think we're going to. And so I'm working on a budget for next year that's not going to look well either. And so we're going to have to like put a pause on any like um, big changes in staffing, but we're moving forward with all of our curricular initiatives and all of that. We're definitely moving forward. We don't want to pause any of that, but as far as staffing, we're having to kind of pause on any big additions to staffing changes. So, um, but really trying not to make decisions that negatively impact the classroom now.
Yeah. I hear you. And I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest challenge right now in the district itself? Uh, Staffing for sure. But if you're looking from a curriculum standpoint, is something you're looking excited about, something which you would want anyone to reach out to you about? Uh, what's it that you would look at or want to look?
I think in our district, we've seen I don't feel like we've achieved academically at the levels that we should be. Um, and I don't know what to put. We've really worked hard at it. But if just looking at like reading and math on the state assessment, I feel like we could be better. And um, we look pretty hard at we use the NWA map assessment as well on our own that we use, and that assessment shows that our kids are making good, strong growth. And that's really what I focus on is how much growth we're making. There's average growth and there's above average growth, and we want to be in that above average growth range. And for the most part, we are. In fact, this last year we tested at, above the average in growth in nearly every category. But when you look at like state assessment scores, I just don't feel like we hit where we should. So that's been frustrating, and we've really worked hard on it. It's frustrating for our teachers, it's frustrating for our administrators. I try not to put all the eggs in that basket because at the end of the day, what's really important to the community and kids is how the kids are treated and if they have a good experience at school and that they're learning.
Yeah,
And we know that they are. We know that they are. We know we prepare kids well for the next stages of their life. So we do know that's happening. But that one state assessment really, is something we wish we could do better on. And I think and I know your company works with AI, and I think the with what AI is bringing to schools is something that we are in the very early stages. We've done training with our staff a couple different times, and we've got staff that are, we're using it, but I'd say we're in the very early stages, and I'm just kind of I'm interested to see where it's going and how we can use the AI tools to make us more efficient in what we do. Um, and I've attended trainings, I've attended seminars on it, and I kind of keep hearing the same things. And so we haven't like put the gas pedal down on AI yet to move forward because I really want to see well, before we do it, we want to make sure we're heading in the right direction with it. But that to me is a big thing for the next 5 years that's going to change how we do things.
for sure. I think and and that's where I'm going to come towards the one of my last later part of the interview, right? Like one of the last questions. AI is one of those things which has given us a lot of aha moments. It's
Yeah.
changed how we see things, and we see it in impacting on the jobs. We see it in impacting on almost everyone's life, knowingly or unknowingly. If you're
Hmm.
using your smartphone right now, you're using AI. You might not know
Yeah.
about it, but if you've seen a reel, you've seen AI at work. And if you've 70% emails right now are being drafted by ChatGPT. So no one's writing emails, no one's
Yeah.
things which traditionally we thought only humans would do. Design,
Yeah.
creativity is gone out. Uh, so what do you look at kids today and how do you prepare them for the future? What are the things which you are looking at and saying, this is what we should be teaching? Might not
Hmm.
be something which we have the right budgets and the bills have not passed and we
Yeah.
haven't taught them, but this is what we should be looking at. This is something which we should be dabbling with and like just figuring things out. And how would that look like to you? Uh, and your whole idea of AI, right? Like just,
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I think we're preparing kids for jobs that really don't even exist yet, I think. And so during my I'm gonna go back to my time at Arizona working for the Department of Ed. One of the areas that I oversaw was career technical education. And I remember sitting in a meeting with manufacturer leaders across the state and them telling me that the most important thing for us is that the kids come out of school with the soft skills. Um, we don't need you to teach them manufacturing skills. We need you to teach them soft skills, how to work, how to be on a team, how to just get along with others and how to learn. And if they come out with those soft skills, they're gonna be able to succeed in whatever occupation that they're gonna choose. And so I think that's really key for us, especially I don't have a high school, we're a K-8 district.
yeah,
So I think it's really key for us that we are teaching kids uh, those soft skills so that as they approach these these occupations that may not exist yet, and that they're going to have to learn that they have the skill set to do that, that they have the skill set to learn at that time. And, obviously there are basic academic skills that we're teaching them, but I think the most important thing we can teach them is how to be learners as they approach this world that's changing every minute. Um, we can't we're no longer just producing kids that are going to go out in society in the jobs that we see today. So,
Lovely said, right? Like, I think I agree with you. I think Sam Waltman, everyone agrees with you. Everyone has been saying the same for at least for a few years now, and maybe longer.
Yeah.
Have you implemented something for soft skills in your school? Has that been a thought that's come across, or is it something which you train your teachers to do it well enough for the class?
We haven't implemented anything formally um, that that uh, that I think focuses on soft skills. Probably should, but we have not implemented anything formally. I think again that comes down to for I guess what I could say we have done, and many districts do a great job with this is um, it's that it's that learning culture that you build in your school
Yeah.
that should have the soft skills built into it. But as far as a formal curriculum, we have not, we other than I would say some social emotional curriculums that we put in place. But I think that the learning culture that we put in place should build in the soft skills, but we have not done anything formal.
That sounds good. I mean, it's something which we also think so. And how do you see AI changing things? I mean, you have already said the jobs won't exist. Uh,
Yeah.
and because the fact that your teachers are already using AI and you've done two professional development, I heard for them, like you've dabbled
Mhm.
into it,
Yeah.
you see a significant change in their time efficiency and like how they've used it right now.
I can't speak to that really for our staff. I can speak personally. I've seen, I've been able to use it in ways that have helped me. Um, I do see emails coming from parents that I know are written by AI, but especially when they're really mad about something. But uh, I think that our task is to figure out the right way to introduce kids to this topic that in ways that's going to help them.
Yeah.
I think our initial response to AI is that we don't want the kids to use it because they're going to cheat. So that's the initial response.
Und-
But that was the initial response when the calculator came out. And so we need to figure out ways to help kids learn how to use AI in ways that are going to benefit them, just like we're trying to figure it out ourselves in our current careers. So that's our challenge. And like I said, we're in the very early stages of that right now. And um, so if we can figure that out, I think it'll be a really good thing.
Ah, Before I let you go, I'm going to just ask you for one last actionable
Yeah.
advice for a superintendent who's looking to become a superintendent, someone who is already there. What's that one piece of wisdom or insight that everyone, like a lot of people will not have, right? Like you have insight because you've worked there, you've been in around, you've seen two different areas and like three different or just different environments. So what's the invite like? And I'm just let you answer that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I think I have the best job in Lake County, Illinois. I love it. And it's so if somebody wants to get into this kind of a role, I would not shy away from it. Um, but I would just make sure you surround yourself with people that are not just like you and people that are going to challenge you and people that you can trust to help you grow and that you can I think what's been rewarding for me is when I just kind of had a mind shift of I need to, my job as a superintendent is to make sure all the people around me are growing as leaders. Whether and that's everybody, including our teachers, that's our staff. I consider them all leaders. And if they're growing, if I'm helping them grow, that's my job. And so I would just encourage somebody if they're thinking about this kind of career that, keep your focus on your leadership is helping those around you grow and making sure you're surrounding yourself with people that are going to challenge you to grow yourself. So
Thank you so much for taking this
you
time
bet.
and having a conversation with us. I hope the listeners love it. And uh,
Awesome.
and thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.